Fear is just an idea. Have you ever imagined what lies on the other side of fear? Hello everyone, my name is Sahitha. Throughout our lives, we encounter so many challenges. We aspire, we dream of doing so many beautiful things. But always, one invisible barrier comes ahead of us. And that's fear. Just because of fear, we lose opportunities, we feel sorrowful, sad that we cannot achieve something. But what if I told you that this is just a mental construct? This is just an idea. Fear is just an idea. As other ideas, this can be challenged, it can be reshaped, and it can be overcome. So if you are willing to challenge your fear, find ways to overcome it and truly overcome it, so many incredible, beautiful things lies beyond the fear that you have, beyond this hurdle. So in this video, let's try to understand, break down what is fear, what causes fear, and how to overcome fear. Well, at the end of this video, I am sure that you will be in a good stance to challenge the fear that you are experiencing now. Well, as I told you, fear is just a mental construct. It's just an idea that is created within us. And there are so many causes for it. There are so many reasons for it. But let's break down and see what they are. Before everything, I would like to present a personal story, a personal experience of mine. As you all know, I'm involved in research. And we are doing a new ventilation system project. And this is a huge project. At one moment, at one time, at one point of the research, I was tasked with doing some metalwork fabrication. Well, in my undergrad, I have been to the fabrication shop in my undergraduate university a couple of times, but I have not actually undertaken any task. I have not fabricated myself. So when you say metalwork, metalware, it is all the way from cutting metal, bending metal, welding metal, which seems to be exciting on the surface, and I'm very excited and I was very happy to take over the project. But underneath, I was melting down onto my bones because I was so afraid. The tools were so scary. The sound it made exhausted me. It horrified me. So I was so scared to move on to the fabrication shop, even to look at people doing those things. But I had no choice. I had to keep up with my level and I had to accept it. But there was something in me saying that this fear would be a big barrier. If I said no, I would have lost many opportunities, even my assistantship, because it seems that I'm not a person. It reflects that I'm not a person who is willing to take up challenges. And I cannot say for most of the tasks that it came to me. So, just because of my willingness, not because I knew anything, not because my body and mind was ready, but just because I wanted to do this and I was again not willing to lose the opportunity and my mind was telling that I could get through this, I just said yes. And surprisingly, it turned out to be very well and we were able to deploy it very nicely and I was commended to the work I did. And that was my first individual fabrication task that I did. All the way from cutting, bending, welding to making a huge metal structure. Well, now let's try to understand what's causing this fear. What are the reasons? There can be many reasons and it can be individualized and it might be very specific to situations and people. And I am not penalizing anyone. Fear is true. It's not something bad, but underneath it's something good if you try to break it down. Let's see. Let's try to frame fear and see how it's caused. Number one, the first thing is the fear of failure itself. Because we fear that we would be embarrassed, we would be penalized. Some things would go wrong. People would laugh at us. You lost the opportunity if you don't do it right. Because of the fear of failure, we tend to be fearful of the task itself. And number two, which I admire a lot, which I like, is the lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge, correct knowledge, makes us fear things. Well, due to both of these reasons, or several other reasons, you might feel fear. But what's important for us is not the reason why we feel fear, but how to overcome fear. What is the framework? What is the roadmap? What are the steps? And what are the things that you can cultivate, undertake in order to overcome this fear? Well, let's break this down and try to find out how you can overcome fear. The first thing that I want to tell you, and if you want to overcome fear, if you want to challenge your fear, if you want to be successful, if you want to do the thing that you want to do, as Susan Jeffers says, feel the fear and do it anyway. You should be able to approach the challenge. You should have a willingness, not just because you can do it or you know how to do it, but just because you want to do it. First, you should be willing to approach it. Only if you are willing to approach it, even with fear, even when yourself is melting down within, if you have tears running all over your body, you should be able to approach it. Only if you have the small gut feeling that you can do it, only if you have that, you will be able to defeat the fear, shatter the fear, and emerge victorious. So the first thing is to make up your mind that you are going to face this no matter what. And number two, you should be very open and make your mind open to new ideas, because in order to overcome fear, we have to change the way we think. We have to learn things. We have to change the way we look at things. Sometimes completely erase the knowledge that we have and learn something new, relearn. So in order to do all of this, we have to be flexible. We have to be willing. We have to be open. We have to be humble enough to acquire the necessary skills, the knowledge that we need to overcome fear. So number two, and very important, we have to be willing to overcome the fear. And we should be willing to acquire the necessary skills and talent. So once we have made up our mind to acquire the necessary skills, next is to build a support system. So in my case, I had a colleague who had already done some of the metal work prior to me. And there was a fabrication shop and a fabrication shop supervisor who was very talented and skillful and willing to help. So what did I do? First, I was willing to approach it, and I was open to any change, new ideas. And I had to go to the fabrication shop and I had to take training modules separately. These were not the courses or the classes that I take for the semester, but separate training modules in order to access the metal cutting machines, the other tools in the shop. So it was not easy. I had to go through an online training module. I had to listen to lectures or look at videos. I had to answer questions, take an exam for each module, and do an in-person hands-on training. So because I was willing to acquire the knowledge, I was able to get these training modules, and I went to the shop supervisor, the fabrication shop supervisor, and asked his guidance and help. And also I talked to my colleague in order to get as much as guidance, help that I could. Not with fabrication, but if he has traveled the path, if he had done the task prior to me, he knows what will go wrong and how to do it better. So I talked to my colleague, got his help, got his guidance, and when I was doing certain tasks, I got him to come and check whether I was doing it right. And I always went to my fabrication supervisor in order to get his feedback, criticism at times. It was not easy. He would not say everything in a very pleasant way. It might be harsh sometimes. It might be not easy. And in that particular semester, I was working very hard. I was taking a couple of classes and I had all the other research work to do as well. Anyhow, what I want to tell you is that you should seek support, seek guidance, seek mentorship, because the easiest way to accelerate any process is to go to someone who had already traveled that path, who had already done something, who had already faced the challenges, the fear, and who had emerged successful. In the book Mastery, Robert Greene says, there's no shortcut to success, but there's one trick, one hack that you can do if you want to accelerate your growth. That is to seek mentorship. go to mentors and train under mentor. So I experienced that in real life. Had I gone there to do it myself, I would have not achieved it for ages. I would have not achieved it at all because there was no way. So I went for guidance, I went for help, I went for mentorship. So we have to be humble, we should be open to get the guidance, mentorship, which is very open. That's the third step. And next is to learn continuously. Sometimes we seek mentorship and then we forget about, we lose our motivation, we lose our momentum, we lose our grit. But in order to overcome your fear and get what you need, you should be continuously growing yourself, learning yourself, reshaping yourself. So if you can do these 4 things, if you are willing to approach the challenge, if you're open to new ideas, if you're seeking guidance and help, and if you are continuously learning and growing yourself, definitely you are in the path of achieving success through defeating fear, shattering fear, breaking fear. It will just shatter as glass. So if you're somebody dreaming of achieving something, aspiring, but still you're being subdued by this invisible barrier, this mental construct, this idea of fear, this is your opportunity. Try to understand that fear is just an idea. As any other idea, it can be challenged, it can be reshaped, and it can be overcome. And then there are 2 reasons. That's the fear of failure. You should not fear to fail. There are so many real world examples where failure became the opportunity of success. Next one is the lack of knowledge that we understand. And there are 4 things that you need to do. Willing to take up the challenge, open to new ideas, seeking guidance and mentorship, and continuous learning. If you cultivate these 4 skills, you will definitely emerge victorious, break the barriers, and be successful and achieve what you need. So understand that fear is just an idea and you can always challenge the fear and overcome it. So feel the fear, do it anyway, keep winning, keep shining.